Hi friends, we are talking about physical properties of steel. First one is hardness. It is a mechanical resistance to indentation or scratching. This increases the wear resistance of metal. No one like hard material like tungsten nor soft material like sodium. Steel has to be in between. That is the reason why carbon is required at a minimum level, usually 0.03 percentage to 0.25 percentage maximum. Second one is tensile strength. This is the maximum stress a metal can withstand while being stretched or pulled before breaking. If you stretch a metal, it should not break below its specified tensile strength. Next property of steel is elasticity. This is the ability to return to original shape after deformation within the elastic limit. What it is? It is the ability to gain its shape, original shape, when load is removed. The next property of steel is elasticity. Elasticity is the ability of material to return to original shape after deformation within the elastic limit. That is the ability to gain its shape when load is removed, just like rubber. Now, what is the plasticity of steel? The ability of the metal or steel to undergo permanent deformation without rupture. Next property of steel is malleability. This is the ability of steel to be hammered or rolled into thin sheets without breaking. A metal like gold, silver, copper have more malleability than steel. Steel plates and sheets are made of malleable steel. What is ductility of steel? This is the property of metal or capacity of metal to be drawn into thin wires without breaking, as seen in gold and copper wire. Now, what is ductility? This is a property of steel have got capacity to be drawn into thin wires without breaking, as seen in gold and copper. Electrical wires are made of aluminum and copper. Toughness. This property of steel is very important in the industry. The ability to absorb energy and plastically deform without fracturing. The toughness usually used in low temperature services, and toughness is measured or tested by Charpy impact machine. Next property of steel is toughness. This is very important property of material. This is the ability to absorb energy and plastically deform without fracturing. In, in industry where the low temperature service is required, the material should be tough enough at the design temperature. And toughness is tested by Charpy impact or Charpy isode test. Next property of steel is fatigue strength. This is the resistance to failure under repeated cyclic loading. If you try to break a copper wire by just bending, it will not break. But if you try to bend it repeatedly, a point will come where the copper wire will break. Embrittlement. This is a partial or complete loss of ductility and toughness, resulting in brittle fracture. Embrittlement can occur due to chemical changes like absorption of hydrogen into steel or presence of certain alloying or contaminant elements. Now, tempering stability. This property of metal or steel is the ability to maintain its mechanical properties such as strength and hardness during and after the heat treatment like tempering. Next is tempering stability. This is the ability of steel to maintain its mechanical properties such as strength and hardness during and after the heat treatment like tempering without significant degradation or loss of desirable qualities. Creep resistance is a property of steel. It's very important property where some high temperature vessels and pipings are erected. What it is? It is a creep resistance of metal is the ability to resist slow permanent deformation under constant stress at elevated temperature over a long period of time. There are two factors. First one is constant stress and now the creep resistance. Creep resistance is very important property of steel where high temperature vessel and pipings are required. This is the steel's ability to resist slow permanent deformation under constant stress at elevated temperature over a long period of time. This property is critical in application where metal are exposed to high stress and heat simultaneously, such as high temperature piping, high temperature pressure vessels, etc. Next term is carburization. This usually carburized steel is used in automobile industry, like in gears, shafts, bearing, etc. Even in engine component, where the parts are undergo high stress and wear. Carburization is nothing but putting a hard carbon layer on the top of the material. We'll go through this. Carburization of metal is a heat treatment process in which iron or steel absorb carbon from carbon-rich environment while being heated to high temperature. The goal of carburization is to increase the carbon content on the surface layer of the metal to make it harder and more wearable, more wear resistant while retaining a tougher, more ductile interior. So carbon layer will come only on the outer surface while inner surface will not be affected. Next is temper brittleness. This is reduction in toughness and ductility that occur in some steel and alloy metal when they are tempered or cooled down slowly between 200 degrees centigrade to 650 degrees centigrade. Now, what is this term corrosion resistance? This is the ability of steel to resist deterioration caused by reaction with environmental element. Example, stainless steel resist rusting better than pure iron or other steel than other than stainless steel. I mean, last one is alloy formation. This is the ability of steel to combine with the other to form alloy with enhanced properties like strength, hardness, or corrosion resistance. Friends, these were some of the common mechanical properties of the metal or steel. If you want to know any other property of metal or steel, please let me know. I'll try to add it. Also, if you like my videos and the content, please subscribe, like it, share it with your friends. Thank you very much. Also, definitions of properties of metals PDF is added in the description below. You may download for your reference if you are needed it. Thank you.